Welcome back to Newsmakers. I am your host, Mike Briggs. We come here every Wednesday at 3 p.m. and we talk to people making the news, people in the news. We talk to city councilmen, city council candidates, mayors, people running our government. But this is an unusual time for us because there's an election coming up, and it's for governor. Two questions. Do you want to recall the governor, Governor Newsom? Question number two, who do you want to replace that governor if he is recalled? So we've invited a bunch of the candidates to come on the show, and I think we're going to have one or two. But our favorite, the one who comes over and over, because he's active and he wants to hear from people. He wants us to know him, but he wants to know you too. Nickolas Wildstar. Nickolas Wildstar, candidate for governor. Now, and by the way, if you want more information, we only get about 10, 15 minutes here. For more information, go to wildstar2020.com. Pretty easy, wildstar2020.com, and all the information is there. So how are you, by the way?
Incredible.
I like to jump right into the tough questions here. So what's the weirdest thing for me? Now, I've been elected to the state legislature twice. I've been elected to the city council. Every election is on the first Tuesday after the first Monday. Mm-hmm. But this one isn't. This is 2 weeks in. This is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it's a Tuesday, is it?
It is.
Tuesday, September 14th.
I think the reason why they did that was because...
Pull your microphone toward you a little bit there.
You got it, absolutely. I think the reason why they chose to do that is because the week before is Labor Day weekend.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So.
Now, if you're in Fresno County, your ballot looks like this. I mean, it's a lot of names on there. Amongst those are Nickolas Wildstar, but every county may be different. We're going to ask Nickolas about that a little bit. So you're running for governor. How does someone run for governor? How many votes? Do you know how many people might vote?
Well, there's over 40 million people in the state of California, and about half of those are registered to vote. Yeah. So, but typically in each election, there's about 10% of that actually shows up. Yeah, it's sad.
2 million, 2 or 3 million people
it's
vote.
sad how many people actually end up going to the polls and versus the population here in the state. So if you're registered to vote, please definitely cast your ballot now and vote Wildstar for governor.
Now, we counted yesterday, I forget now, was there 36 people on this ballot or something like that?
Mm-hmm. 46.
46, yeah, 46. Doug Osee, by the way, a friend of mine, dropped out yesterday. He was a congressman. He was running for governor. He had a heart attack. He's out. Your chances are better now.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he had to bow out under other circumstances other than, him having his health be threatened. But yeah, I mean, the less candidates that the people of California have to choose from, the better the odds for me.
Now, how does it work? Does the person who gets the most votes win? There's no runoff, right?
No runoff. This is winner takes all. So for the people that have concerns about splitting the vote, you're not going to be doing that. You don't have to worry about that this time around. It's basically a two-part question on your ballot. One, would you like to recall Newsom, which I hope you all vote yes. And two, who would you like to replace him? So the candidate that ends up getting the majority, whether it be 15, 20%, can end up becoming the next governor.
Most elections, you have to have 50% plus one vote to win. So this is crazy. Somebody could get 10% and be the governor.
Exactly.
Could be someone crazy, like Schwarzenegger or something like that.
Well, he's not running this time
But that's
around,
how he got in the same scenario.
Exactly.
Gray Davis was recalled, and people picked Schwarzenegger. So yeah, some people are worried. You said earlier, splitting the Republican vote or something like that, but that's not a worry.
Precisely, yeah. So for the people, Republicans mainly, that are concerned about splitting the Republican vote and Gavin Newsom ending up staying in office because of that, you don't have to worry about that. Right. The first question settles it, which is basically, out,
yes,
exactly.
Now, I see you're running as a Republican.
I am a Ron Paul Republican.
Good, yeah. Ron Paul. Now, the last Republican governor California had was Schwarzenegger, who came in this way. So this is a chance. California's gone Democrat.
Right.
This is a chance for there to be a Republican governor.
Yes, indeed. And it looks like because the majority of candidates to replace Gavin Newsom are registered Republicans, that we most likely will end up with a new Republican governor here in California. It's just a matter of who would that candidate be.
Yeah. And by the way, statistically, it's a chance that more Republicans will show up to vote in this race.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But Republicans are outnumbered in the state of California as far
outnumbered,
as registered voters. Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1.
Yeah.
You throw in libertarians, no party preference, etc., then it becomes like 5-1. So it's imperative that everyone goes out to vote, regardless of your political affiliation. Please vote on that recall. Yes or no, definitely choose to also vote for a replacement candidate because Newsom right now is promoting for the Democrats, the Democratic voters in the state to skip that portion. You definitely don't want to do that.
Now, by the way, again, this is just Fresno County's ballot. You might have seen some others. I've only seen this one. It's crazy because on one side of the ballot, you vote to recall Newsom or not to, and then you turn the ballot over. There's 46 candidates listed on there. You pick one of them. I'm going to ask you about a couple of them. You don't have to comment on them. I'm the commentator, so I can comment on them. I just read Caitlyn Jenner's book that she wrote about herself, and she's running no real political. Feels like she's floating around looking for something to do.
Yes.
So, but I've heard her speak. I've read her book, and I don't think she's ready to be governor. So.
No, and I don't think she is either. I mean, she's been a resident of California for, what, 50 years?
50.
She's 70 years old, I believe, plus. So you've been a long-time resident of California. You have millions of dollars, a huge platform, yet you've done nothing to help the underserved, underprivileged people of the California that you claim to want to help, whether it be the working class people that have been taxed to death here in the state, or the homeless people. You know, you could have easily done something about it. So to step up last minute and also be traveling out in Australia, you know, while you're campaigning, and basically taking advantage of certain privileges that we, the people, are not afforded right now. And that's the right to travel. And that's being restricted because of this coronavirus crisis. But I definitely don't feel like she's someone that has well intentions.
The main reason, well, I have a bunch of reasons I wouldn't vote for her, but one of the reasons is her words don't roll like your words just roll out like that, and you make a lot of sense, and you're very natural at it. Hers do not. So she doesn't have a grasp of the issues and of the language of politics. Let's see. We also invited Angeline. It's a one-name person.
All right.
And she or her people said, she'd love to come on, but she charges us to come on.
Wow.
Now, I know you said, and just give us 1 minute of this, you had interviews already, you're going to do more today. How many today?
Oh, yes.
And where were they?
This is my third interview. Fortunately, the first two were virtual interviews, and because you're local.
Were they newspaper or what were they?
They were podcasts. But yes, this afternoon I actually have an interview with Los Angeles Times. I just recently had an interview with the Sacramento Bee, who should be releasing an exclusive soon. So I've been doing my best as possible to kind of
So Angeline's going to charge you. My point is, I'm being halfway tongue-in-cheek. Nickolas knows this is all about getting your name out and getting free publicity. Some people have money they're paying for their publicity.
Yes.
As much as you get for free, you take it. Evangeline, I don't think she's going to show up on the on the thing. Now a couple of these guys. I'm going to ask you about some of the bigger ones. Larry Elder, I had never heard of. I think he's a talk show host in Southern California. Maybe well known. I'm assuming that because people act like, oh, he's a big deal.
Right.
But in Fresno, I've never heard of him. But I see a lot of ads for him.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen there?
He's another person that's in this pretty much to promote his celebrity and, you know, gain more fandom and more wealth because of it as well. Whether it be him, Caitlyn Jenner, or Angeline, I don't think their intentions for running is purely genuine to help the people of the community that they claim to want to help. Because he's another longtime resident of California, born and raised in Los Angeles, yet has done nothing to help the people of the state of California. And you're right. He's a well-known,
well, I've never heard of him.
News. So. I didn't really either. And a lot of people don't know much about him when you ask them, or at least what I've been experienced is the people that I've come across that have heard of him don't really know about his politics. Or don't know about him at all. Never heard of him before, like yourself.
Now, there's Kevin Paffraff. Now, I'm just going to brush over these, but I'm really going to get into what you believe in, what you stand for, and what you're going to do in a few minutes. Kevin Paffraff, they said he's a YouTube star.
Yeah, and I don't know what qualifies as a YouTube star because I have a YouTube channel with over 7 million views and over 30,000 subscribers, and they don't talk about my YouTube audience, but yes, he is a YouTuber as well, I believe with millions of subscribers, but he's gotten famous by selling real estate. He's a multimillionaire, has about 20 properties he owns or so, and wants to actually have the National Guard come in and within the first 2 months of him being governor, clean up all of the homeless people off the streets. So you can tell right there, he has no care for the unhoused people of our state.
I would never want to see military forces on the streets of the United States.
Neither would I.
We have sheriff, we have police, we have high patrol.
Exactly.
But you don't want to see the military doing that.
Enough is enough, you know?
Now, John Cox, he was the Republican nominee last time. I see a couple commercials. He is not hitting as often as Larry Elder, but I don't know. Maybe he has a name ID. Maybe he has a base. I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do.
Yeah,
he has a bear.
Right. He's been capitalizing on that and campaigning around the state with an actual bear. But John Cox, you know, he's one of those longtime establishment, you know, old guard representatives who is a wealthy man himself, again, hoping to raise his celebrity and fame. The one thing about him and his name and recognition is it just comes from him running for office.
Yeah.
Because he ran for governor, he ran for president, and I think that's more so why a lot of people.
Which one of those did he win, by the way, governor or president?
Neither.
Neither. Okay. Yeah. For the record.
But I definitely don't feel like he'd be someone that wants to help the working class and would be focusing on, you know, making sure the wealthy got more benefits. And that's not something that's going to help the economy here in the state of California.
Now, and by the way, some of these people like the YouTuber, they're jumping in because of the recall. Nickolas Wildstar has been planning a campaign for governor for some time.
Yes, I have.
I was jumping in. So
no, right after my run for Fresno mayor, I actually threw my hat in the ring for governor of California. So I was one of the first candidates to propose my campaign for 2022. And since I was a volunteer collecting signatures for the recall petition, I let people know once it did indeed verify that I would be a candidate in this recall election. And here I am.
The last name I'll bring up is Faulconer. I don't know how to say it, but he was mayor of San Diego, cleaned up homeless and stuff. He's got a lot of ads running, so he's in the mix too, I guess. So.
Well, yeah, the one thing about him is he's a career politician, and he has a long time history of a voting record that we the people can frown upon. Yeah. You know, even with those homeless policies, he ended up ushering those people to other parts of the state.
Yeah, I think to Fresno we got a bunch of them.
Hey,
where
exactly.
all these people come from? San Diego, I guess. So.
When you're criminalizing homelessness, then that's not going to help the situation. That's what's happening now in Los Angeles as well. So you need a governor that's going to take a more humanitarian approach to dealing with the issue.
Yeah. Now, usually in a campaign, we have a guest. I never bring up their opponents, but it's a crazy time. I just want to get some perspective out there of what's going on. So many people running, and Nickolas Wildstar is trying to rise to the top, the cream of the crop. He doesn't need 90% of the vote or 80 or 50, 40. He can win 10 or 12% of the vote. Tell us well, first of all, a little funny story. Nickolas came running in here last minute. Sorry, I'm late. I was. Tell him what you were doing.
Changing a diaper.
Yeah.
I'm still, excuse me, I'm still getting used to fatherhood. My son, he's about to, yes, born and raised here in Fresno. Right. And he'll be celebrating his second birthday on September 1st. And yeah, I'm still getting used to changing a diaper right before leaving out of the house and managing time and all of that while also campaigning and doing interviews like these. So I appreciate you making time for me. But
I would rather vote for somebody who's changed diapers than somebody who never has. I mean, how many problems come along with having a family? A lot.
Yes.
A lot of little things.
And I
you
don't
gotta
have a
work through.
nanny or anything
things you
like
got to
that.
work through all the time when you have a family, and you know how tough it can be, even when things are
Absolutely.
going good. You know, I used to be walking out to work on my suit and tie, goodbye baby, and blap all over, and gotta start over again. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's happened to me before also. So, like I said, I'm still getting used to it, but enjoying every moment of
Well,
it.
besides that, tell us. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Tell us who you are, what you stand for, and why people should vote for you.
Sure, because I'm the one and true and only representative of we the people of California. Like Mike pointed out of all of the candidates that are running, I'm the one that's been out there pounding the pavement and have been committed towards not only removing Gavin Newsom from office, but doing something about the issues. I ran for mayor of Fresno. I ran for governor of California in 2014, and in 2018, I was the Libertarian candidate for governor. So I don't let that stop me in political activism. The amount of money that I have, or the amount of exposure or censorship, none of that prevents me from stepping up to represent the people of the community. So I'm the boots on the ground guy, and if that's who you really want representing you, then please definitely vote Wildstar for governor.
And how would California be different? I mean, if they have this recall election, you're like governor in a week from then or something like that. It's not like a big
month later, a little bit.
a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
how would California be different?
Well, for the next year, I'm going to cancel taxes. So you won't have to pay any more income tax, sales tax, property tax, no more taxes for the state of California for the next year while I'm in office. Since we do have a gubernatorial election in 2022, I can suspend collection of those taxes. Since over the past year, we've been taxed for gas, but told to stay home, been taxed for schools, but haven't been able to send our kids to school. So I would like to, again, provide some economic relief to the people of California there. I'm also the only candidate that's offering to make California constitutional carry on my first day in office. While there's many people that frown on our right to bear arms, I look at it as a self-defense issue. We should always have the right to protect ourselves. And I think right now that's matters more than ever, you know, with there being a surge of release of violent offenders thanks to Gavin Newsom, and, you know, certain political issues that are inflammatory in the community. I think it's best that we, of course, have someone in office that's going to be a unifier and be the healer in chief. And that's something that I'm also going to provide to the people of California.
Now, well, I won't get into too many details. State has bills. If they don't collect the taxes, how do they pay the bills? How do they keep the schools going, the highway patrol on the road, things like that?
Well, you can pay for all of those public services. You can do so voluntarily. Right now, it's being done forcibly, and that's what I want to stop. I want to transition to a more voluntary taxation system. You can choose how much you want to give, where it goes, etc. But as far as the government is concerned, they don't need that much money. I mean, government makes enough income off of fines and fees. And that's where I would actually like to transition to, where, again, we're not collecting taxpayer revenue, but again, just focusing on fees and fines. And a way that we can do that positively is provide naming rights to some of our state highways. You got multi-billion-dollar companies like Google that would happily pay, you know, $100 million a year, let's say.
Google Freeway.
Exactly, Google Freeway instead of the Golden Gate Freeway, or, you know, Golden Gate Bridge.
Well, that there are states that do not have income tax.
No,
Couple of
exactly.
them, I
And a
think,
lot of
so.
people and businesses are leaving to those tax havens.
Now, we've seen some giant companies leave. Elon Musk left, I think.
Yeah, him himself. Thankfully, we still have the Tesla.
We do have
yes, and but Oracle left. Many other networks left, like what's his name, Ben Shapiro and his network. These are small businesses. They're big businesses because the amount of income they may make or revenue they may generate. But as far as the clientele, these are maybe businesses that employ a few hundred or 1,000 people. But those are jobs that we desperately need right here in the state.
Well, I heard Gavin Newsom say he doesn't care. They shouldn't leave. This is such a great place to live. They should just stay here because it's a great, you got the beaches and the mountains, and they should just stay for that. But businesses have to make financial decisions.
Absolutely. And we have to understand that, of course, with those business decisions, they're going to make the ones that are best for them. Right. If I was a business owner, I would want to make sure I'm in a business climate where I'm not being taxed 30% of my income, and then being double taxed for business expenses. Yeah. So that's what's happening right now, is businesses and people are being double taxed, triple taxed, and it definitely needs to stop. So cancel those taxes, give us an economic reprieve, cancel AB 5. Another bill that prevents people from working as independent contractors in the state. You know, we want to get our truckers back to work, our farmers back to work, our gardeners back to work, our nannies back to work.
A lot of people are independent contractors.
Exactly, yeah. And farmers do as well. And we need to make sure that they have access to resources like water, which this drought is mainly being manufactured by legislation. It's
there's plenty of water.
Oh yes, tons of water, yeah. But it's being controlled right now. Who's controlling that water? You know, so I think with a proper audit we can find out, which is why I also want to audit our budget on my first day in office as well and get started on that. And that'll be publicly done in real time. Everybody will be involved and see what's going on.
Well, I want to head to another area. We've covered who's running and what this complex mess is. If Governor Newsom gets recalled, the same ballot elects his replacement. It's a weird thing. It's only happened, I think, once in the state of California when Gray Davis was recalled. We've heard about your stands, what you're going to do when you're governor. I know there's 1,000 things you're going to do and 1,000 stances, but can't get to all of them. The final area I want to talk about is how are you going to get elected? We see some of these big guys have the TV commercials. How do you reach the tens of thousands of people or millions that you need to reach?
I need viral connectivity, and that starts first with you, we the people out there that are watching right now, just sharing with your friends and family more about my information that you find out on my website, wildstar2022.com, that you find out in discussions and interviews like I'm having here with Mike, which you can also find on my website under press. But we need to start communicating with each other who's the best person to represent us instead of them being selected and chosen by the powers that be, you know. And of course, with the mainstream media, they're going to prop up the people that fit into that cronyist circle. So we have to stop that by being involved. So please, there it is right there. Visit my website and find out more about me. Connect with me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. I have tons of content out there. So
now you bring up a point that just causes me to pause and think for a minute. It used to be the newspapers were the big driver of the word, but I don't really see those around anymore.
No.
And then the TV news, but I don't watch it anymore because by midday, all the news is popped up right here on my phone.
Right.
But are you saying that you need people who think they could support you to maybe share something?
Exactly.
Share on what, Facebook or Instagram?
Yeah, just sharing. I mean, the mainstream media, they pay attention to the numbers and the amount of activity that a candidate is able to get from the community. So if that buzz is able to get generated organically instead of me having to pay an exorbitant amount of money, like you pointed out, I mean, I'm not paying for an appearance or to get into newspapers, and they charge an arm and a leg, you know, for ad space or whatever they want to call it. But I don't have that funding. I'm 100% crowd funded. You know, another thing that the media pays attention to is how much of a war chest you have in campaign funds. So if you're running on a shoestring budget like I am, then they're going to ignore you completely. So we need to vote on values, you know, stop looking at the glitz and glamour, pay attention to the grits and grind. And that's what I'm all about. And we live in a society where people pay more attention to the Hollywood way of living, you know. That's promoted more so in our media and culturally, but what does that matter to our day-to-day life? You know, it doesn't really, because we're people that are having to deal with real life issues, whether it be having to change a diaper, you know, or giving someone on the street, you know, a few bucks just so they can have a meal. I mean, this is the real world that we live in. And if we really want to deal with the issues head on, we have to put aside all of the facade and focus on what really matters to us most.
Good. Now, a lot of the younger people, when I say younger, I mean younger than me, do Instagram.
Yes.
Do you have an Instagram?
I do. I'm a millennial. I'm a 40-year-old millennial. I just had my 40th birthday. But yes, I have an Instagram. I got a Twitter.
What's
I got
the
a
Instagram
Facebook.
address?
All of my everything is Governor Wildstar. So that's at Governor Wildstar. I'm also in need of donations, so you can cash at me at $sign Governor Wildstar. Only one that's different is my Twitter, which is at the real Q Ball. I've had that since
At the real Q Ball.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's the word real, and then QBALL. I've had it since I've been involved in music.
Yeah, are those on your website, Wildstar 2020? Can they find those handles?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, right at the top of my website, the top left, you'll see a whole bunch of social media icons. Yes, right there. So you can see I got the Facebook, the YouTube, the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, all that good stuff. Just click on any one of those icons and it'll take you directly to that link.
TikTok, that's another thing I have to learn how to do to communicate with people. I just think email is great, you know, but a lot of these people aren't doing that. They're doing the Instagram.
Well, you got to use other ways to communicate with people.
Facebook Messenger and stuff to communicate. So this is exciting. Wildstar 2022. Can you believe it? Wildstar2022.com.
Right
the race is a little less than a month away.
Yeah, but it's happening right now. Like you said, you got your ballot.
I could vote today.
You can vote today.
Election day is today.
Exactly.
So,
you can vote today. Election day has already started. Of course, they'll be announcing the winner of that election maybe on September 14th, depending on how the numbers are. But we will have a projection on that date. But if you are reluctant to send in that mail-in ballot, you have a lot of people that are skeptical because of the voter accountability. But if you want to vote in person, voting in person starts September 4th. So you can hold on to that mail-in ballot and then go on September 4th and give that to a voting representative. They'll give you a receipt, and then you can vote right there on the voting system.
I might go in and take this ballot in and vote because there must be an envelope, which I've already lost. I've lost the envelope, so I'll take this in and vote.
There you go.
I'm not going to wait till the last day because you know what? When you wait till the last day, something always happens.
Yeah.
That keeps you from getting there. The baby throws up or, whatever. So I'm going to go early around the 4th or 5th of September and vote. You should too. You should have received your ballot by now. I think everybody in Fresno County at least should have received their ballot. And by the way, you have people watching from Sacramento down to Porterville. So that's a lot of counties in there. So if you hadn't got your ballot yet, keep looking for it. They're doing
and the one thing about that is what you just said. Depending on which county that you're in, the ballot is different. So please pay close attention to that ballot. I may be differently placed. And another thing that I found out was I paid for a voter statement in the voter handbook. Or a candidate statement in the voter handbook, and that isn't being sent out to many people in different counties.
I got the handbook.
Okay, good.
I got the handbook.
Because other people are being told to go to a website, but please find out more.
Yeah. Whatever ballot you get, there's only one Wildstar on the ballot.
Exactly.
You're
right about
there.
that.
I don't see any other Nicks or Nickolases, but there's only one Wildstar.
True.
Last thoughts. I'll give you the last word here.
I just want to ask everyone out there to please, please, please vote. I mean, you have a lot of people that are, again, hesitant because of the last election, or because of what Gavin Newsom is saying about this recall being led by Republicans. I was a volunteer to collect his signatures for the recall, and I can tell you without a doubt that this recall would have not been successful without registered Democratic voters and former supporters and voters of him. So please go out there and vote. Vote with your consciousness. Vote for your values. And please vote Wildstar for governor.
All right, we'll be back next week with more Newsmakers. Thank you, Nickolas Wildstar. Busy guy right now, less than a month till his election, and he came here to CentralValleyTalk.com. We'll be right back.